Hey guys, welcome to Movement Monday. Back again for another week. This week we're going to discuss the plank row, which again is another core movement you can use as either an active rest or as just a daily core exercise movement that will help strengthen and stabilize the core and also start incorporating other movements within it. Okay, so today, as I say, it's going to be the plank pull or the plank row. So with this one, generally you need a band or resistance, or you can use a cable machine if you're working in a gym and they don't have bands. If you're working from home, then this one becomes a little bit more difficult because obviously a bit of resistance does actually help this one, but I'll show you a body weight alternative that you can do that will basically do a similar effect, but it won't have the added force there, okay, it won't have the added resistance. Now the idea of this one, as I say, it's just a way of not making the plank harder in a sense, but just starting to produce some movement within the plank. The plank is a great core stabilizing movement, and is a good movement to be doing as frequently as you can, but it's just quite boring. So to start incorporating movements into it, to start incorporating different bits of equipment into it, just as a way of stubbing out that boredom pretty quickly. Once someone can plank for say a minute, then these sort of little added extras can be thrown in just to kind of just spice it back up again. Okay, but it doesn't mean that you don't have to then keep progressing at a plank, but it's just, for me myself, I couldn't imagine being in a plank position for 2-3 minutes. Even if I could do that, would I really want to be just lying there on a plank, sitting still, doing nothing? It's quite boring. It's just not, for me, it's not that interesting. So these variations that we go over the weeks, they're just giving you a little bit of something to spice it up a little bit, and just to make sure that you stick to it, really, because it is just it's a great position to be into, and as I say, it's a necessary if you want balance in that core. So with today, as I say, we were talking about anti-movements, okay? So we were talking about the pull-off press last week, which was that anti-rotation, that a movement that basically tries to force you to do something, but you resist against it, okay? So with the plank is generally an anti-extension, because basically what's happening is you're forcing yourself not to extend at the hips as you're coming down. Gravity is trying to pull you down. And so you're fighting against that resistance, okay? So what will happen is you'll hit the abdominals at the front very, very hard as well. But the great thing about the plank is it generally hits most of the core, and when you start adding in these movements as well, it's fantastic for bringing in other muscle groups that generally aren't going to be used otherwise, okay? So not only are you stabilizing at the abdominals at the front, your lower back obviously will make sure you have to keep that nice and strong and stable. Your glutes have to be squeezed and kept stable. Your shoulders will have to stay stable. So a lot of areas are having to stabilize and get stronger at holding the body weight. So it's as I say, a really good movement, and when we add these things, it makes it better. So I'll pop you over here and we'll just start talking about the plank, and then the movement we're going to talk to today, which is that plank row. So down we go here. So again, what we need really is some form of post or bar or something that you can wrap your band around, okay? And then, as I say, a resistance band, okay? Now, so let's go with the plank first and foremost, okay? A simple plank would be to come down, obviously either in a push-up plank or, as most people know, on the elbows. Okay, trying to keep that body as straight as possible, squeezing the abs, squeezing the glutes, hold that position, and that is your plank. Okay, so as you can see, just watching it is boring enough, let alone actually being there and having to feel the pain and the burn in the core, and having to try and resist stopping the plank. Not only is it boring, but it becomes very, very annoying in a very short amount of time. Okay, but as I say, quite essential. But by adding some movement there, as I say, you're taking almost your mind away from the boredom. You're starting to add something in. But what it does do, obviously, is it then increases that intensity. So as I say, before you move on to things like this, it's a recommendation from myself that you should be able to hold a plank for about a minute. If you can't, I would suggest starting with planks and just building up that stamina, that sort of isometric stamina to allow you to do that, okay? And then from there, once you can do that, things like this will become a good tool, because then it will make you sort of almost regress back down in time, so that you can obviously not spend too long doing them. Okay. So the plank pull, what we're going to do today, is a great exercise again to throw in either on pressing or lower body sort of days. Okay, it's a good one to do because not only are you in that plank position and working the core, you're obviously throwing in some pull work as well. Okay, so you're going to hit the lats, the rear delts, biceps. They're going to get some sort of stimulus as well from it. Okay, not a ridiculous amount because it's only, we're not going to use a heavy band, but it's enough to cause, as I say, the effects that you want. All right. So to set yourself up with it, again, you've got two different positions, either on the elbow or on the wrist. Now, if it hurts to be on your wrist for a long period of time, then obviously I would suggest being on the elbow. But in terms of how I like to set up, I like to go into the push-up plank position and hold that position there. Okay. So with the plank row, what you're looking to do, okay, you want the band again to have as much tension as possible. I'm just going to step to the side of the screen a little bit so I've got a bit of tension in the band. Okay. You're in that plank position, and then you're pulling down towards you. So it's basically like a lat pull down in that sense. Okay, you're going to really activate those lats, and as I say, the biceps. Pull down, you squeeze for a second or two, and then you control back out again. Down, squeeze, control back out. Okay. As I say, the band should have maximum tension full time. So when you're even at your most stretched position, that tension should be there. You're pulling in, you're squeezing it down to that bottom position. Okay. Good thing about it, as I say, is you've got a couple of different ways to progress or regress this movement, okay, which is always good. It shows, I think, the more ways you can regress and progress a movement, the more beneficial it is, because actually it allows everyone to do it, it allows everyone to start at a level and build up to it, or advance people to take it to the next level, okay? So the easiest variation, as I say, if you went down to the elbow, and you have a really wide stance with the feet, so you get your feet as wide and apart as you can. Okay, that gives you a much bigger base to work from, and you'll find it really easy to get into that position and pull down. Okay, to make it a bit difficult, you step in. Okay, what that starts doing is it takes away the broad base, it makes it a bit more of an unstable movement, and when you add that pull in, you're trying to force your body to move around. Suddenly, you have to use a lot more muscular, so in the core region, you have to stabilise much better, and it works on the balance as well. Okay, so that's one progression from there. So start wide, as I say, with the feet. From there, as you progress, you get a little shorter in the foot. Okay, okay. Then from there, you can even start adding in things like single leg work. So I would recommend the opposite leg to the one that you're pulling with. You lift that up and start rowing in. Now you've got even more instability within the body. That means your body has to work that much harder, stabilising and holding you in that position. Okay. Obviously, you can go heavier with the bands as well. That's another progression, but you only can go so heavy before it becomes, quite a difficult movement to do, and you're sort of, the band is almost pulling you too much out of the way. The goal is still to be in that plank position. You're just adding that movement in there. Okay. And then another progression from there, once you've obviously got into the single leg situation, is you can start driving the knee in on the opposite leg. So you can come down, you drive the knee in, and come back out. Drive it in, and back out. And again, you're adding more movement in there again. You're adding the lower body emphasis in there as well as the upper body emphasis. Again, it progresses the movement and makes it a bit more difficult. And again, you're going to get the core stronger in that movement. Okay, guys? So the plank row there, I've also given you some progressions to work from that plank row, which means that you've got an endless array of opportunities to improve it and to start getting stronger at it. As I say, I throw it in as active rest, generally on lower body days again, because I think, on the lower body days, the core work is more important, whereas on upper body days, you might want to work on some areas of the upper body, the rear delts, the sits muscles on the back. So this is again just a good active rest movement to throw in there, and it's probably one of my favourites to get my athletes to do. It's quite a tricky one. We don't generally progress it much further than just throwing in and doing sort of higher rep work with it. So as I say, just give it a try, see what you think. Let me know if you've got any questions about it. And in terms of regressions from there, simply just getting people to bring their knees down and doing the row from that position again will be a regression. But the idea really is, as I say, you should be able to plank for a minute before you would attempt this anyway. So you should be pretty reasonable at doing plank pull downs if you can plank for over a minute. Okay, guys? Hope you enjoyed that. Just be awesome. I'll catch you guys later during the week. Any questions or anything that you want to know about any of the programming we do here at YouPeak Performance, anything that we do in terms of the movement and the screening and everything else, just let me know, send me an email, and I'll come back to you straight away, guys. Okay? Thank you for listening. Just be awesome. Catch you later. Bye-bye.